I never thought revenge would taste like salt spray and the faint tang of diesel on a crisp Florida morning, but there I was, coffee in hand, watching Tycoon Karen. Yes, that's what we called her behind her back. Marched down the pier like she owned the goddamn Gulf of Mexico. She'd built her empire on backroom deals and fake it to make it bluster. But 2 years ago, she'd stabbed me in the back so deep I could still feel the twist in my gut every time I saw her Botox-frozen smile. Now at 5:17 a.m., with the sky bleeding pink and orange over the condos of Palm Harbor's elite waterfront, she was here to demand my yacht, the Revenant, as if it were her divine right. Because apparently, its sleek lines obstructed her ocean view from her McMansion balcony. I'd bought the Revenant 6 months after she tanked my career, a 72-foot Sunseeker that I'd poured every dime of my severance into, plus a little creative financing from old Navy buddies who owed me favors. It wasn't just a boat. It was my middle finger to the world she'd tried to bury me in. Karen, with her peroxide bob and Hermes scarf knotted like a noose, had clawed her way to HOA president of Seagrove Point, our gated slice of paradise where millionaires pretended to be neighbors but really just spied on each other. She'd started as my business partner in a boutique real estate flip. High-end flips for tech bros relocating from Silicon Valley. We were good together, or so I thought. Me handling the gritty renovations, her schmoozing the buyers with her Valley Girl charm, laced with East Coast edge. Until she accidentally leaked my emails to a competitor, framing me for embezzlement, and poached my biggest client list. I lost everything. The firm, the house, the wife who couldn't handle the scandal. Karen? She rebranded overnight, snagged a spot on the local chamber board, and started dating a state senator old enough to be her sugar daddy. That betrayal simmered in me like bad moonshine, but I kept it locked down, rebuilding in the shadows. Moved into a modest condo in Seagrove, kept my head low, and poured my rage into the Revenant. She docked in our community marina, a perk of the HOA dues that Karen lorded over like a feudal queen. I'd seen her eyeing it from her balcony parties, those catered affairs with shrimp towers and live jazz, where she'd whisper poison about those who don't belong. But demanding it outright? That was peak Karen. Entitled, unhinged, convinced the world owed her because she'd once been a sorority girl at Vanderbilt who hustled her way up. She spotted me on deck, fiddling with the lines, and her Louboutins clicked like gunfire on the teak boardwalk. Jack Harlan, you son of a bitch, get down here right now." Her voice sliced through the hum of early fishing boats, turning heads from the bait shop crowd. I sipped my coffee, black as my mood, and leaned over the rail, feigning surprise. "Karen, dawn patrol today? Thought you only rose for Botox touch-ups." Her face flushed under the makeup, a rare crack in the facade. She thrust a crumpled HOA violation notice at me, the paper fluttering like a white flag of surrender. If only she knew. "This eyesore of yours is in direct violation of Covenant 14B, obstructing premium views for residents above the median income bracket. You'll surrender the vessel immediately, or I'll have it towed at your expense. And don't think I won't. I've got the board in my pocket." I chuckled, low and mean, the sound echoing off the water. The hooks were set. She'd taken the bait without realizing it. 2 years of anonymous tips to journalists, quiet filings with the SEC about her shady flips, and now this. It was the spark to my powder keg. Surrender? That's cute, Karen. Last I checked, this is America, not your personal fiefdom. What's next? Finding me for breathing too loud during your yoga brunches. She stepped closer, close enough I could smell her Chanel number 5, mixed with desperation. "You think you're clever, don't you? Skulking around here after what you pulled, trying to sabotage my election last year with those fake flyers. But I'm untouchable now. Senator Hargrove says hi, by the way. One call, and your little revenge fantasy ends in cuffs." Ah, the senator. Her latest ladder rung, a widower with a Gulf Stream and a wandering eye. I'd heard the rumors, pool boys, interns, now her. But untouchable? Bullshit. I'd spent months digging, cross-referencing property records with her offshore accounts, the ones she'd hidden after screwing me. The Revenant wasn't just a boat. It was wired with cameras, my insurance policy against types like her. Every dockside rant, Every bribe whispered to the marina manager. It was all recorded, uploaded to a cloud server only I could access. I hopped down to the dock, towering over her at 6 feet 2 inches to her 5 feet 4 inches in heels, and plucked the notice from her fingers. Let's take a walk, Karen. Discuss this like civilized folk. Or are you too busy tweeting about microaggressions to remember how deals get done? She hesitated, eyes darting to the gathering crowd. Joggers in Lululemon, a couple of retirees with chihuahuas, then straightened her blazer. Fine. But this isn't negotiation. You're out by noon. We strolled the pier, the sun climbing higher, gilding the waves in gold. Seagrove Point was peak Florida fantasy. Palm fringe paths, infinity pools spilling into the intracoastal, homes with names like Azure Dreams that cost more than most folks' lifetimes. But under the gloss, it festered. HOA meetings devolving into scream fests over Flagpole Heights. Karen at the helm, wielding her gavel like Excalibur. She'd ban my grill once for smoke pollution, find a widow for unkempt landscaping after her husband's funeral. Now, she wanted my yacht? It was the culmination of her grudge, born from that night at the Chamber Gala, when I'd politely declined her advance. Post-betrayal, pre-rebuild, calling her just a colleague. Her ego never forgave slights. Halfway down, she launched into her tirade, voice rising like a summer squall. You have no idea the strings I've pulled to keep this place pristine. That yacht? It's a floating slum, Jack. Draws in riffraff. Yacht club trash who don't tip the staff. And after your little accident with the investor database, you're lucky I haven't had you evicted. The accident was her leak, of course, twisted in her narrative. I nodded along, phone in pocket recording every word, my face a mask of contrition. Strings, huh? Like the one to that shell company in the Caymans? Or the kickbacks from Hargrove's development cronies? She froze, heels skidding. What did you say? We were at the end of the pier now, where the water deepened to indigo, the Revenant bobbing gently behind us. I pulled out my phone, thumbed to a folder labeled Karma, and hit play. Her voice filled the air, tinny but unmistakable, from a gala voicemail she'd left me. Drunk on Rose. Jackie boy, forget the past. Let's merge again. I'll make it worth your while. Shares the works. Hargrove's on board. He loves a good flip. The crowd had thickened. Phones were out, filming. Karen's eyes bulged. That's doctored. You bastard. Not doctored. I cut in, voice steady as the tide. Just the tip of the iceberg. Care to hear the one where you brag about siphoning escrow funds? Or the email chain with your Cayman accountant, timestamped the day you framed me. She lunged for the phone, but I sidestepped, her nails grazing my arm like a cat's claws. Stop this. I'll sue. I'll ruin you. The first hook of the morning had landed, her public unraveling, raw and real, under the relentless Florida sun. But revenge isn't a sprint. It's a slow bleed. As sirens wailed in the distance, my anonymous tip to the Sheriff's Marine Patrol about suspicious activity at the dock, I knew this was just dawn. The real storm was brewing. By 7 a.m., the pier was a circus. News vans from Tampa Bay 10 jockeyed for position, reporters with man buns and clipboards shouting questions at Karen as she paced, phone glued to her ear, screaming at her lawyer. What do you mean conflict of interest? Hargrove's office is stonewalling me? Fix it. I'd retreated to the Revenant salon, a leather-lined haven with teak paneling and a wet bar stocked with single malt that burned going down like vindication. My phone buzzed nonstop, text from old contacts. Dude, you viral yet? Links to live streams of the chaos. Karen's face pixelated but unmistakable, blotchy with rage. I'd always been the quiet type. Navy vet turned flipper, more comfortable with blueprints than boardrooms. Karen was the showwoman, the one who turned every closing into a cocktail hour spectacle. Our partnership worked because I trusted her flair. She trusted my grit. Until the Miami high-rise deal, where a $2 million shortfall appeared overnight. She pointed fingers at me, creative accounting gone wrong, and the email she found sealed it. Forged, I later proved to myself, but not to the courts fast enough. I took the hit. Bankruptcy, divorce papers from Lisa who whispered, I can't do scandal, Jack. and a one-way ticket to rock bottom. Rebuilding mint nights, poring over public records in motel rooms, days pounding nails for cash onto the table. When Seagrove's HOA auctioned a foreclosed unit. Ironic, given Karen's veto power, I scraped together the down payment. Fitting into the community was like wearing ill-fitting loafers. Polite nods at the pool, but whispers followed. That's the guy who got disbarred. No weight embezzled. Karen ignored me at first, then weaponized the HOA, citing me for everything from excessive vehicle washing to unauthorized guest parking, my own sister. The yacht was my white whale, moored legally but glaringly in her sight line, a symbol of my resurgence she couldn't stomach. Now, as gulls wheeled overhead, I poured another scotch and reviewed the footage. Crystal clear. Her admission caught mid-rant. I'd seeded the board with allies, retired CPAs who'd sniffed her irregularities, and the violation notice? A forgery I'd anticipated, bait to draw her out. The sheriff's boat pulled up, deputies in khakis boarding with warrants for financial irregularities reported in HOA funds. Karen's scream carried over the water. This is harassment. Jack set me up. Did I? Hell yes. And it felt biblical. The morning dragged into a sweltering noon, humidity thickening the air like soup. I stepped out for air, finding the dock cordoned off with yellow tape. Karen huddled with her entourage, a harried attorney in a rumpled suit, a PR flack scrolling damage control on her tablet, and Hargrove himself, red-faced under his Panama hat, muttering about optics. He shot me a glare as I passed, but I just tipped my ball cap. Go Gators faded from too many games and murmured, "Morning, Senator." Nice day for a scandal. Inside the Seagrove clubhouse, the HOA board convened an emergency session. I'd been invited as the aggrieved party, a courtesy that let me sit at the polished mahogany table, nursing a club soda while Karen seethed across from me. The room smelled of stale coffee and desperation, AC humming against the tropical heat seeping through hurricane-proof windows. Mrs. Delgado, the ancient widow Karen had fined into selling her azaleas, chaired with gnarled hands on the gavel. Order. Ms. Whitaker, your response to Mr. Harlan's counterfiling. Karen, makeup reapplied, but eyes puffy, launched into a monologue worthy of a Lifetime movie villain. This is a witch hunt. Jack's yacht is the real violation. Unsightly, uninsured, a hazard. And these so-called recordings? Deepfakes. He's bitter because I outgrew our pathetic little partnership. I built this community while he was busy failing. The board shifted uncomfortably. I'd emailed them the files an hour prior, undoctored, notarized by a neutral PI. Mr. Patel, the tech whiz from Unit 12B, cleared his throat. Ma'am, the metadata checks out. Timestamps align with known events. And the escrow discrepancies. They're substantial. Her head snapped to him. Traitor, I gave you that variance on your EV charger. Chaos erupted. Accusations flying, chairs scraping. I stayed silent, letting it unfold. The betrayer betrayed. When the vote came, suspension of Karen pending audit, she bolted from the room, heels echoing like retreating thunder. Outside, paparazzi swarmed. A drone buzzed overhead, capturing her sprint to Hargrove's Escalade. By evening, as I grilled Snapper on the Revenant's flybridge, sunset painting the sky in fire, my phone lit up with a blocked number. Her voice, shrill through voicemail. You think you've won? This isn't over. I'll bury you in court, in the press, everywhere. Click. I deleted it, cracked a beer, and toasted the horizon. The first act closed, but the curtain was just rising. Revenge, I'd learned, was marinated in patience, served cold with a side of schadenfreude. The backlash hit like a nor'easter the next day, whipping Seagrove Point into a frenzy of keyboard warriors and cocktail hour gossips. By breakfast, mine a simple omelet on the condo balcony overlooking the marina. Karen's name trended locally, Tycoon takedown, with memes of her red-faced rant photoshopped on his sinking ships. HOA hell, when Karen meets karma, Blair the Tampa Tribune's online splash, complete with my yacht as the heroic backdrop. I scrolled through it all, a grim smile tugging at my lips, the Gulf breeze ruffling the sports section. Lisa had texted too, saw the news. Proud of you? Or just scared? But I left it unread. Pride was a luxury I couldn't afford yet. This was survival, pure and jagged. Karen didn't waste time licking wounds. At 9 a.m. sharp, her lawyer, a slick Miami shark named Epstein, no relation, slid in my voicemail with legalese threats, defamation, slander, punitive damages in the seven figures. Cease dissemination of falsified materials, Mr. Harlan, or face immediate litigation. I forwarded it to my own counsel, a bulldog ex-prosecutor I'd bartered services with during my flip days, and got back. Let her swing. We've got the receipts. Literal ones. Bank statements, wire transfers, her signature on falsified ledgers I'd subpoenaed through back channels. The HOA board meeting footage leaked by noon, courtesy of an anonymous drop to the local Fox affiliate. And suddenly, Seagrove wasn't paradise. It was a pressure cooker. Neighbors who'd cowered under Karen's rule now piled on. Petitions circulated for her ouster. Email chains exposed her generous donations as money laundering for Hargrove's PAC. Mrs. Delgado called me personally, voice quavering over the line. Jack, mi hijo, you did what we couldn't. Dios te bendiga. I mumbled thanks, but inside the old guilt gnawed. Was this justice, or just my poison mirrored back? Afternoon brought the controversy to my doorstep. A rally formed at the clubhouse. Ironic, given the no loitering signs Karen had plastered everywhere. 50 residents strong, signs scrawled with "End Karen's reign" and "Yachts for all." I wandered over, hands in pockets, blending into the khakis and polos. That's when she appeared. Karen, flanked by Hargrove's security detail, megaphone in hand, transformed into a martyr. This man, she bellowed, jabbing at a blown-up photo of me on the Revenant, is a vengeful stalker. He seduced me into partnership, then fabricated lies when I rejected his advances. Seagrove, don't let this toxic masculinity destroy our haven. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A few women nodded. Her base, the Pilates crowd who'd bonded over wine nights, demonizing men like that. Hargrove loomed behind, nodding solemnly, his toupee defying the wind. My stomach twisted. This was her play. Flip the script, paint me the predator. Cameras rolled. Locals live tweeting. Is HOA drama turning me to? Seagrove scandal. I pushed through, heart pounding like it did in Fallujah, and snatched the megaphone from her grip. Rejected advances? Karen, the only thing you rejected was basic decency. Ask the judge who dismissed your countersuit last month. Oh wait, you buried that under NDAs. The crowd murmured. I timed it perfect, the dismissal fresh from a Broward clerk who'd owed me a favor. She snatched it back, face a mask of fury. Lies. All of it. I built this HOA from nothing. Fought developers, secured our gates. And for what? To be torn down by a bitter ex-partner who couldn't handle a strong woman. Strong. I shot back, voice carrying without the amp. You mean bullying? Finding single moms for bird feeders? Padding your Cayman accounts with dues? That's not strength, that's theft. The rally fractured then, claps from one side, jeers from the other. A fistfight nearly broke out between Patel's wife and one of Karen's sorority relics. Cops arrived, dispersing us with board efficiency, but the damage was done. Lines drawn, alliances shattered. As I walked away, a young mom from Unit 7, slipped me her card. If you need backup, call. She's terrorized us all. Evening fell heavy, the kind of sticky dusk where mosquitoes hummed like accusations. I fired up the Revenant's engines for a solo cruise, the rumble vibrating through my bones as we cut through the chop toward Clearwater. Out there, with dolphins arcing in the wake, the betrayal replayed. That conference room in Orlando, her handing me the pink slip with a crocodile tear. It's business, Jack. Nothing personal, but it was deeply. She'd known about Lisa's infertility struggles, used it to gaslight me during negotiations. Focus on the deals, not your home life. Now, with the senator's jets cooling at the private airstrip, I wondered if he'd bolt or double down. Back at dock by midnight, stars pricking the velvet sky, my PI buzzed. Got her. Flight logs. Hargrove's Gulfstream to Nassau last month. Her on the manifest. Photos incoming. Grainy shots. Karen in a bikini too small for her ego, toasting with Cayman bankers on a beach cabana. I forwarded to the Tribune tip line, anonymous as ever. Sleep came fitful, dreams of keels and knives. Wednesday dawned with subpoenas raining down, not just on her but me. Hargrove's office, playing dirty, accused me of harassment via maritime nuisance, claiming the Revenant's wake eroded his beachfront. Bullshit, but it tied up my lawyer for hours. Karen escalated too. A GoFundMe for her legal defense against defamation, raking in $50,000 from sympathizers overnight, pitched as standing up to HOA bullies. Wait, no, the bully. The irony burned. I hit the gym in the condo rec room, pounding the heavy bag until my knuckles split, sweat stinging like regret. Why her? Why now? Because she made me a ghost in my own life, and ghosts don't haunt quietly. Post-workout, I drove to St. Pete for a meet with an old flip contact, Rico, who ran a crew out of Ybor. Heard about your drama, hermano. He grinned over Cuban sandwiches at the Columbia. Need muscle for the boat? Or just dirt? Dirt, I said, sliding him a flash drive. On her senator squeeze. Anything that sticks. He nodded, eyes sharp. Done. But watch your six, Karen's fight dirty. Back home, the outrage boiled over at the weekly farmers market by the pool. Vendors hawked heirloom tomatoes and kale smoothies, but the real crop was gossip. I grabbed a coffee from the cart, eavesdropping as a cluster of snowbirds dissected the scandal. She's always been a climber, one opined, pearls clutched. Remember when she blocked the community garden? Said it attracted undesirables. Another, a grizzled vet like me, snorted. Undesirables like us? Jack's doing God's work. Karen materialized then, shopping bag swinging like a weapon, her rally makeover intact, power lipstick, victory roll hair. She cornered me by the guava stand. Enjoying the show, Jack? My fund's at $75K. Your little yacht won't save you from bankruptcy round 2. I popped a strawberry into my mouth, juice bursting sweet. Funds for fraud? Classy. But hey, if it keeps the lights on in your panic room. Her slap came fast, palm cracking my cheek, drawing gas from the kale cue. You destroyed me. For what a boat? Your fragile ego. I rubbed my jaw, tasting copper. You destroyed yourself, Karen. The slap's just the encore. Security hauled her off, market buzzing. But as I walked away, a seed of doubt sprouted. Was this humiliation or just mutual evisceration? The sun beat down, merciless, mirroring the heat in my veins. Part 2 was underway, and the audience was wrapped, but curtains close eventually. By Thursday, the national outlets sniffed blood. CNN's entitled elite. HO, a wars go yacht-sized, with pundits debating revenge culture in gated America. My inbox overflowed, job offers from rival firms, interview requests I dodged, even a producer from some Bravo spinoff sniffing Real Housewives drama. I ignored it all, focusing on the Revenant's maintenance, polishing brass, checking bilges, rituals that grounded me amid the storm. Karen's counterattack landed via Hargrove's presser at the Capitol, streamed live from Tallahassee. Suited up in his best Brooks Brothers, the senator decried baseless smears on public servants, hinting at partisan sabotage without naming names. But the cheering read lawmakers' ties to HOA scandal under scrutiny, and the comment section lit up. Dump the cougar, senator. Florida man versus Florida Karen, fight. I watched from a salon, feet up on the ottoman, a cigar smoldering in the ashtray. Contraband in Seagrove, but fuck it. The flight logs dropped then, Tribune exclusive. Senator's secret getaway with disgraced developer. Photos splashed across the feed. Karen, tanned and tipsy, Hargrove's arm slung low. Her GoFundMe stalled at $82K, donors pulling out like rats from fire. That night, thunder rumbled offshore, first squall of the season. Rain lashed the windows as I poured over Rico's dirt. Emails linking Hargrove to her flips, zoning bribes disguised as consulting fees. One CC'd me. Ironic, a leftover from our partnership days, her signing off with Kisses K. I drafted an anonymous packet for the FDLE, fingers flying on the laptop. Send. The backlash was biblical now, her empire cracking like parched earth. Friday brought the reaction. Karen's apology video, filmed in her solarium, all soft lighting and sniffles. I've made mistakes, but who hasn't? Jack's pain is valid, but his vendetta hurts us all. Let's heal Seagrove together. Crocodile tears, but the comments savaged her. Heal this fraud. Yacht Gate forever. I messaged Lisa back finally. Proud. Scared. Both. Her reply. Call me. We talk, but calls could wait. The humiliation phase was peaking, her facade fracturing. One more push, and the bitter end would dawn. The weekend blurred into a maelstrom of depositions and drive-bys. Seagrove's manicured lawns trampled by news crews and curiosity seekers. Saturday morning, I found my condo vandalized. Egg yolks dripping down the stucco, traitor scrawled in lipstick on the garage door. Karen's handiwork, or one of her diehards. I hosed it off, the water mixing with my sweat in a 95-degree scorch, muttering curses that would make my drill sergeant blush. This was her backlash. Not elegant countersuits, but petty guerrilla warfare, the kind that wore you down like waves on a breakwater. The HOA's special hearing convened at noon in the clubhouse ballroom, chandeliers twinkling like false stars over folding tables laden with Waterford decanters. Irony, since Karen had procured them via questionable vendors. The board, now stacked against her with interim appointees, called witnesses, Patel on the charge of variance, extorted, he admitted, Mrs. Delgado on the funeral fines, heartless, poor Maldad. I testified last, voice steady, laying out the betrayal timeline. Partnership docs projected on a screen, her forged emails highlighted in red. She didn't just take my business, she took my name. Frame me to climb higher. Now, with HOA funds, it's a pattern. Karen, seated like a defendant in pearls and pencil skirt, interjected with theatrical gasps. Objection. Slander. This man's obsessed, stalking my every move. Her lawyer, Epstein, pounded the table, but the chair, Delgado, banged her gavel. Sustained? No. Ms. Whitaker, your response to the audit findings. The accountant, a bespectacled drone from Deloitte flown in on emergency retainers, droned through slides. For $150,000 unaccounted, funneled to offshore shells. Gasps echoed. Even her allies blanched. Karen bolted up, chair toppling. This is rigged. Jack paid you off. Enough. Delgado thundered. Older than Methuselah, but fierce as a hurricane. Motion to remove Ms. Whitaker as president. Effective immediately. All in favor. A chorus of eyes sealed it. Karen's scream shattered a water glass. You can't. I'll sue this podunk board into oblivion. She stormed out, slamming doors, leaving a wake of stunned silence. Outside, flashbulbs popped. Her Escalade peeled away, tires squealing like her exit from Grace. I slipped out the back, heart hammering, the weight of it settling. Not triumph, yet, but a hollow echo, like firing the last round in a firefight. The Revenant called. I spent the afternoon under its shade, tinkering with the outboard, the rhythmic clank drowning doubts. Why did her fall feel like my own? Because she'd been my mirror once. Ambitious, cutthroat. I'd chosen mercy then. She chose the knife. Sunday brought the outrage crescendo. Hargrove's resignation presser, broadcast from his Vero Beach estate, face ashen under golf tan foundation. Personal matters necessitate my step back. No wrongdoing on my part. But the packet I'd sent hit the wires, bribery allegations, ethics probes launched. Karen's name loomed large, her strong woman narrative crumbling into enabler overnight. Protests swelled outside her gates. Ironic, given her no soliciting signs. Neighbors she'd lorded over now, chanting, Karen must go, with pitchfork pitch, tiki torches and signs. I watched from afar, binoculars from the yacht scanning the melee. She appeared on her balcony, megaphone resurrected, but her voice cracked. This is cancel culture. Mob rule. I gave you all pools security value. Booze drowned her. A tomato splattered the rail. Overripe, symbolic. Hargrove's detail hustled her inside, but not before a drone caught the tears. Real ones, mascara rivers. My phone rang then. Rico. Dirt delivered. Feds circling her accountant. And hey, that EV crew? They fix your door for free. Community's got your back. Gratitude swelled, unexpected. Seagrove wasn't just survivors. It was kin now bonded in her fallout. But the bitter twist lingered. Her end wasn't clean. Monday's arrest. White collar, cuffs loose but cameras hungry. Played on loop. Karen, disheveled in a silk blouse. No comment as agents led her to a black SUV. Charges. Wire fraud, embezzlement conspiracy. Bail set at $2 million. Her fund tapped out, donors vanished. The controversy peaked in op-eds. Yacht of vengeance. Hero or henchman? Pundits picked at me. Harlan's crusade exposes elite rot. But at what cost? Lisa called, voice soft over the line from Atlanta. Saw the cuffs. You okay? We talked for hours. First time in years. Her admitting the divorce was fear, not fated love. Come visit. Leave the drama. Tempting. But the Revenant hummed. Engines primed for open water. Tuesday, the board reinstated me. Interim prez, a role I accepted with a shrug. Just keep the grills legal, I joked, earning laughs. Mrs. Delgado pulled me aside. She called me last night. Apologized. Said you broke her, but she deserved it. Broke. The word stuck. I drove to the station that afternoon, bailing her out on a whim. My savings dented, but what was money? She emerged, blinking into the lobby fluorescence. Defiance dulled. Jack? You. Couldn't let you rot in orange. Not yet. We sat in my truck, AC blasting against the heat, silence thick as fog. Why? She whispered finally. Because betrayal's a two-way street. You taught me that. But ending it, that's mercy. She laughed, bitter, wiping her nose. Mercy. From you. God, I was blind. The ride to her empty mansion. Hargrove ghosted, allies scattered, was quiet. Dropping her at the curb, under palmettos, swaying like judgmental ants, I said, fix it, Karen. Or don't. But stay off my dock. She nodded, small, and vanished inside. Headline screamed, mystery bail for fallen tycoon. Speculation rife. I didn't care. The hook released. Weeks bled into a tentative normalcy. Seagrove healing like scar tissue over a flay. The HOA board meetings turned civil. Grill variances approved. Gardens unfined. Under my reluctant stewardship. I delegated the grunt work to Patel, focusing on flips again. A bungalow in Gulfport. Clean deal with a crypto kid who paid in wire transfers. No shadows. The Revenant stayed moored. My sanctuary for sunset cruises with Lisa. Visits stretching longer, her hand in mine as we watched bioluminescent wakes glow like fireflies. This you? She asked once, tracing the yacht's nameplate. Rising from the ashes? More like washing up on shore, I replied, but her kiss silenced doubts. Forgiveness wasn't fireworks. It was steady, like tides. Karen's trial loomed, pre-trial motions dragging like a hungover Monday. She pleaded not guilty, of course. Classic deflection, but the evidence mounted. My recordings, the flights, the ledgers. Epstein bailed, citing ethical conflicts. Her new counsel, a public defender with tired eyes, advised a deal. I got subpoenaed as witness, prepping in sterile conference rooms, reliving the stab for strangers in suits. Motive? The prosecutor probed. Justice, I said. Simple as that. The controversy simmered down. Yachtgate fading to footnote. Fodder for podcasts like Entitled AF, where hosts cackled over balcony meltdown clips. Seagrove gossips moved on. To sinkhole scares, red tide blooms. But scars lingered. Trust eroded. Alliances fragile. One night at the pool bar, beers sweating in the tiki lights, a neighbor clapped my shoulder. You gave us our home back, man. Beers on me eternal. Grateful, but the bitter aftertaste clung. Karen's fall wasn't victory. It was wreckage. Her empire ash. Mine rebuilt on grudges. Hargrove slunk to D.C. lobbying gigs. Whispers of disbarment. Her McMansion went into foreclosure. Ironic, the flip queen flipped. Plea day arrived under steel-gray skies, thunder grumbling offshore. Courthouse in Clearwater buzzed, reporters, rubberneckers, a smattering of Seagrove faithful with justice for HOA, teas I'd half-jokingly printed. I sat in the gallery, Lisa's hand cool in mine, as Karen shuffled in. Hair limp, no pearls, just a navy sheath that hung loose. The judge, a no-nonsense type with a drawl like aged bourbon, read the charges. 5 counts, reduced to 3 for cooperation. Your plea, she intoned. Guilty, Your Honor. Karen's voice cracked, eyes down. No cameras inside, but I'd heard the deal, 18 months federal, restitution community service. The bitter end, not bars forever, but bars enough to break the unbreakable. She glanced back once, our eyes locking. No sneer, no slap, just hollow gratitude? Regret? I nodded, slight. She turned away. Sentencing in 30 days. Till then, ankle monitor, house arrest in a rental she'd scraped for. Outside, rain spattered the steps as we spilled into the lot. Reporters swarmed. Mr. Harlan, thoughts on her plea? But I waved them off, arm around Lisa. It's done. Let it be. Driving back, wipers slapping rhythm, she squeezed my thigh. You spared her more, you know. Could have pushed harder. Mercy, I echoed, the word tasting less sour. The Revenant waited, engines purring as we boarded for a shakedown cruise. Open water, no docks, no demands. Dolphins flanked us, leaping in arcs, free and forgotten. Months later, sentencing day, Karen got 14, with time served credit, out in 12 probation tight. I skipped the hearing, flipping pancakes for Lisa in my renovated kitchen, sunlight streaming through sliders onto the bay. News alert pinged. Ex-HOA Tycoon sentenced, vows reform. Photo of her, subdued, heading to a halfway house in Tampa. That night, a letter arrived, handwritten, postmark county jail. Jack, words fail, but try, sorry. For the knife, the lies, the climb over you. You didn't break me. Mirrors do that. Use this life better than I did. K. I burned it on the balcony grill, ashes scattering on the breeze. Bitter? Yeah, like black coffee after sugar dreams. But dawn broke clean, gulls crying, the gulf endless. Epilogue whispers. Karen out early for good behavior, starting a non-profit on ethics consulting. Irony's last laugh. Seagrove thrives, my flips boom, Lisa and I planning a wedding on the Revenant. Revenge? It sailed me home, but home's what you anchor to. The end tastes like salt and second chances. American as apple pie, jagged edges and all.